Who is on upset alert in week 13? We'll talk about that. But first, let's look a quick reaction at the college football playoff rankings that came out last night. Then we'll get into the upset alert. But yeah, just wanted to quickly touch on these rankings. Really wasn't surprised by much here. If you saw my projection video, I think I did a pretty good job. I had the new teams in this week as Illinois, Missouri, Houston, Arizona State, and North Texas. So I had North Texas in, not Tulane. The committee really seems to be giving these group of 5 teams a lot of credit for playing Power 4 opponents, it seems like. It's just kind of what it seems like to me. But got those right. The order wasn't exactly right, but that no surprise by those final 5 teams. Texas dropping to where they dropped was pretty close to where I had them. I think I did have them below Michigan and maybe even Virginia, but that was about what I expected. We still get this debate with Notre Dame and Miami, and Miami just continues to creep up. Like, I don't really understand why Miami jumped ahead of Vanderbilt this week. I mean, yeah, they look pretty good against NC State. They blew them out, but they just keep creeping Miami up, and I'm starting to wonder, are they doing that to try to get those teams close to where at the end of the season that head-to-head's going to matter? And Miami winds up jumping ahead of Notre Dame if they beat Pitt. That's possible. I don't understand why Miami keeps moving up. I think they screwed up with Miami, honestly, in the initial rankings, and they're trying to fix that. So what does that mean for Notre Dame? Again, that's going to be really interesting to watch how that plays out. If Miami continues to creep up, do they jump ahead of Utah next week if they look good this week? I don't know. And then we had Oklahoma and Alabama. Where would they go in comparison to Notre Dame? I had Notre Dame, Oklahoma, then Alabama. So it was pretty much what I expected, although I talked about in the video, Oklahoma might even jump ahead of Notre Dame. A lot of people thought Alabama should still be ahead of Notre Dame, and I'm not going to dispute should, but based off of how this committee has been ranking teams and the recency bias and all that, Notre Dame just went out and blew out a pretty good Pitt team. Alabama just lost at home. It was pretty clear to me that Notre Dame would be ahead of Alabama. I thought they might even be ahead of Oklahoma as well, just because, again, they got a nice win this weekend also. But yeah, no real surprise there. Top 7 was exactly like I think everyone expected it. And so there you go. Those were the rankings from last week. Just wanted to give a quick reaction. Again, it was pretty much what I expected. Now let's get into the upset alert this week. So last week, I did do 10 games instead of 8, but we had 3 of them turn out to be upsets, and these 3 games would have been on there even if we had just done 8 games. Cincinnati, Arizona was on the video. Oklahoma, Alabama was on the video. And then Virginia and Duke. I said, I mean, that was a toss-up game, and that's exactly what we got. So 3 last week. It's been, I think, 2 or 3 every week this season. I don't think we've had less than 2. There might have been 1 week where it was only 1. This might be the week, though. This might be the week where we only have 1 upset. I don't think there are a bunch of upsets out there. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see, but let's get into it. Again, the 8 games that are most likely to be upsets where the point spread is 4 points or more, and we're going from least likely to most likely, starting with Michigan, Maryland. This game is at 4 o'clock Eastern time on the Big Ten Network. Michigan favored by 13.5. This is a Michigan team that really hasn't been playing good football as of late, and they're playing on the road here. Maryland is kind of in the same boat. I mean, they looked pretty good early in the year, and now they've really struggled as of late. This one just caught my attention. Michigan looking ahead to Ohio State. If Maryland goes out there and plays a really good game, it wouldn't shock me if they pulled off an upset. This would be a big one, obviously, but I'm going to put Michigan on upset alert this week. Next, we've got Kansas State at Utah. This one's at 4 o'clock Eastern time on ESPN2. Utah favored by 17.5. That is a big number. They have been blowing teams out, so I get it. But Kansas State's not terrible. They've improved as the season has gone along. I think they have a chance to compete in this game. Again, there are not a lot of games to pick from this week. I don't think we're going to see a bunch of upsets, but this one at least got my attention a little bit. Utah, possibly the pressure building as they look to get into the college football playoff. They're going to need some help, but they could get there if they win out. But obviously, if they lose, they're going to be out. So this is going to be a potential test for them. We'll see. Next, we've got Nebraska at Penn State. 7 o'clock Eastern time on NBC. Penn State favored by 9.5. This preseason was expected to be a really big game. but it just hasn't played out that way for Penn State. Nebraska's about where we expected them at 7-3. Maybe you thought they'd be 8-2 at this point or whatever, but still, you look at these two teams. Both are going to have backup quarterbacks out there. Penn State's had longer they've had more time to get theirs on the field and get some experience. Although Nebraska looked really good in their last game with TJ Lateef. So, I really don't know what's going to happen here. Penn State's been a mystery team all year. I think they're the better team in this matchup, but Nebraska has kind of been up and down as well. So this is one of those games where I really just don't know what to expect. I would think Penn State takes care of business, but yeah, I don't feel super confident there. Next, we got Arkansas at Texas, 3:30 Eastern time on ABC. Texas favored by 9.5. Is there still a path for Texas to get into the college football playoff if they win this game, and then if they beat Texas A&M? They're going to need chaos. They're going to need a ton of help. I don't think it's going to happen. They need so many things to happen. They need Notre Dame to get upset. They need USC to lose to Oregon for sure. They probably need Miami to somehow win the ACC, because I don't know if they pass Miami or they need Miami to lose to Pitt or something like that. There's so many teams in front of them. They need Utah to get upset. They need BYU to get upset. There's just a lot that has to happen for Texas, but they are still technically in the playoff picture. I think they're the only 3-loss team that has any shot at making it in, mostly just because they have that big opportunity against Texas A&M next week. So again, the pressure, is it there for Texas? There's some rumors of Steve Sarkisian possibly leaving. Maybe he goes to the NFL. I don't know where this team is at mentally, or have they given up on the season because they lost the third game? I just don't know about Texas. Arkansas, on the other hand, nothing to lose. They played a lot of close games. They finally break through and win one. I think there's a reason why that spread is only 9.5, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if this is another close game for Arkansas. Next, we go to USC, Oregon, 3:30 Eastern time on CBS. Oregon favored by 9.5. This is the game of the week. Game day is going to be there. Going to Eugene for the second time this season, which is not something they normally do. Oregon has looked pretty good the last few weeks. USC continues to look pretty good as well. So this is another game I really don't know what to expect. I think Oregon is the better team, but I don't think it's a huge gap. And USC, if they make some big plays, a pick six or something like that happens in this game, they could give them a shot to maybe pull off an upset. And then we got to talk about USC possibly getting into the college football playoff. Next, we've got Kentucky at Vanderbilt, 3:30 Eastern time on ESPN. Vanderbilt favored by 9.5. Seems like they're probably not going to make the playoff because teams I think, is this 2 weeks in a row where teams have passed them, or maybe it's just this week when they haven't even played. And this week, Miami jumped ahead of them when they didn't lose or anything. And so that I don't. Is Vanderbilt still alive in the playoff? I don't know. Is the pressure on them potentially in a game like this? Well, I think Kentucky is a team that has really improved lately. They've looked pretty good in their last couple of games. So this is a pretty solid Kentucky team. They went on the road and beat Auburn. They also beat Florida convincingly. So I think this is going to be a good game. And really, this is one of those games I could see going either way. And then we got Duke, North Carolina. This one's at 3:30 Eastern time on the ACC network. Duke is favored by 6.5. It's a Duke team that's just been playing awful. They've been losing. It seems like, I don't know what happened to Duke. This was a pretty good team early in the year, even though they had some tough losses. But they have not played great as of late. And North Carolina seems like they're getting better. We're seeing this team. They're definitely better than the team we saw in week 1 against TCU. So I think that this is more of a toss-up type game. North Carolina, maybe the more desperate team here, trying to get to a bowl game. They got to win their final 2. And I think we might see an upset. So that's one to watch for. And then we got Tennessee, Florida finally, 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Tennessee favored by 4.5 points in this game. Where's Tennessee at mentally with the 3 losses? They're out of the college football playoff race. They're playing on the road. A Florida team, really nothing to lose, really nothing to gain. It's just how bad do they want this game? They played pretty well last week against Ole Miss. So if they show up, and I think these teams, just talent-wise, are pretty even. So that's why I think possibly we'll see an upset. I think that's why the spread's only 4.5. I think absolutely Florida could get this one done. And Tennessee, I think, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they've really struggled in Gainesville. So Yeah, maybe Florida pulls off the upset here. And wow, this is the ABC primetime game, a 7-3 team versus a 3-7 team. That tells you what kind of schedule it is in the SEC this week. But those are the games, the upset picks for this week. Not upset picks, but the games where teams should be on upset alert. Give me your thoughts on these games, or maybe there's a game out there that you think is going to be a big upset that I didn't even talk about. Let me know down in the comments below.